Hello. My mic is picking up the fan. Hope the audio isn't too bad. Okay. Necessary for today, just... Hello. Oh. Tick. Alright. Back to court. Back to court, I think. Let's go. Yeah, I'm gonna actually look up, just to give me an idea of timing for Cyberpunk, how many adventures are in this one. The Great Ace Attorney 2. How many adventures? Not because I'm willing the game away on the gun. 5. I think I'm on number 4. Yes, we're on 4. So one more adventure after this one. Alright, let's go. So we're just about to start... Oh, these bozos again, huh? God. So, what was our history? Right, so they had gotten Gregson's identification. That's what it was. We're about to question them, like how they got it. Okay. Here we go, I guess. The truth is, we took him prisoner and kept him for the night at our secret hideout. Even though I didn't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day, just in case. We took the man's identification from him and shot him in the room next to ours. There might have been a little tussle, but we didn't no harm, and the next morning we let him go. He spent the night in a nice room. It was nothing like a prison, really. Don't know what that sound is meant to be. Like you. This is outrageous. You imprisoned the man. But no, no. It was not like a prison. He was very comfortable and calm and happy. Hey, capo. It was never part of my plan, I swear it. What for? You think it was my fault, eh? Just because I got the date of the ferry wrong. I won a little day. I do not think it was your fault, Peppino, I know it. No, por favor, capo, it's not fair. Shut up. You shall have plenty of time for squabbling back at the prison, gentlemen. Oh, I don't believe this. How could he have been a real detective? Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. So on the day before the incident, Gregson spent the night confined in his parents' hideout. They're like fucking Team Rocket, eh? Alright, so they kept them prisoner for the night at their secret hideouts, right? We're just pressing everything, we're getting as much information as possible. Hold it! Do you realize what you're saying? You have to believe me, I never intended for that to happen. And I'm sure the detective not intended either. Do you think? But there was nothing else I could do. See, nothing else. This wasn't the first crime for the capo. He was at the end of his wits. I have told you before, Peppino, that is not the way to describe a criminal mastermind. What about this hideout of yours? An old empty house behind the park on Lime Street. We rented the place for 2 days. It was an inspired idea by the capo here. An impulsive idea, I would say. No, not impulsive, inspired. Hey, capo. What am I supposed to say to that, baby? No. And it was in the house described that you can find Inspector Gregson, was it? But you have to remember, I was under the impression that he was a pretender, not a real inspector. Doesn't quite add up, though. If you didn't think the man was a real inspector, there would have been no reason to take him prisoner, would there? No, you're right. But we couldn't be completely certain. Just kidnap him, man? Is it that easy? Even though I don't think he was a real detective, I was too scared to let him go that day just in case. Hold it! Too scared? Why? Because why had he come to the park? We didn't know. There was a chance that he had seen to my plan. Is the mic a bit dank today, or is it alright? Seems fine. Okay. And if that was the case, they would go straight to the police station to blow the whistle on us. Even if he was just a failing to be an inspector, he was up to no good, huh? Without a doubt. I think most people would agree that it's you two who are up to no good. Well, see, you may be right. Hey, capo. The point is, we were not able to escape from England immediately. That is why we had no choice but to take the man prisoner. What I don't understand is why the inspector felt the need to show you his identification in the first place. Yeah. That's what we were wondering as well, right? He just blew his identity immediately. See, I asked myself the same question. We were writing down the names and addresses of all the people who took 5 shillings from that day. I have forgotten what name he said, but the address, it startled me. See, address, Scotland Yard, Homicide Division, he said. What? I wonder if he gave them the fake name that the apartment room was under, the place where he died. Remember, it was under a fake name. He probably didn't like your face, Peppino. Anyway, I was not rude. I just politely asked him why he had said it. And that's when he started to say he was an inspector. Not long afterward, he took out his identification. What was Inspector Gregson playing at? Tell the court what happened next. You took him back to your hideout, you say? See, we did. Right, nothing so far. We took the man's identification from him and shut them in the room next to ours. Hold it! That being this identification, Bakir, correct? See, that is the one. That's right, and then Gina confirmed it was the real thing, right? What made you believe that it was a forgery? I never seen a real one, of course. But he was so suspicious, this man. Allora, I was thinking, it must be falso. Hey, capo? Oui, it is just as Peppino has said. We were convinced it was not genuine. And so together, they're hilarious brothers. We took the man captive, yahoo! All we did was shove him inside the locked room. Then we made preparations to transport all of the money. In for a penny, in for a pound. Nothing new from them so far. There might have been a little tussle, we did him no harm, and the next morning we let him go, so they fought. Okay. What do you mean by a little tussle exactly? Well, it was nothing. It's a minor incident. The fellows who inspected it was a real piece of work. Hey, capo. What happened? What for? It was a disaster. We give him a nice room, and what does he do, huh? In the middle of the night, he tries to escape through the ventilator. Try to vent, huh? Can you blame him? We chased him, bien sûr. And we got him again. Can you blame us? Wait, you didn't shoot the man in your haste, did you? So, who do you think we are? Of course not. I simply caught hold of him again and took him back to the room. Oh. We actually heard his voice. It's quite high-pitched. Excuse me. Mr. De Rossi, is something wrong? Yeah. Hey, me? Something Mr. DeRusso said just now seemed to make you, well, it seemed to make you act even more strangely than usual. What was that all about? Yahoo! Cavallo! Times like that, you don't want to have the capo after you, believe me. And I speak from personal experience. Personal experience? That is enough, Peppino. There is no need to say more. The truth is, the night before we put the red-headed league plan to action, I was scared. Is it a horse? Oh. Yes, horse. It was not fair to the capo, but I tried to run away. Shame he didn't manage it. But the capo here, he came after me like a turbine, huh? And he dragged me back to the house, kicking and screaming. I still have the bruises to prove it. Hey, capo. Bruises, you say? Ah, you want to see, huh? You want to see my fantastical bruises? They get fucking garroted, huh? Jesus. That's enough now, Peppino. No one wants to look at any part of you. Didn't the guy with the fucking ugly lip, didn't he also have something on his neck? He had like a neck injury as well, or neck bruising. What did you do, huh? I assure you I don't. I assure you I don't. You do now. My lord, if everybody wants to see, then I do it. Jesus. Ecco, you see, it's still very visible. That red ring around your neck. You got that when you were dragged back to the house? Christ almighty, hey. Like a fucking rope. See, the capo, sometimes he's very rough and, I said that's enough. Peppino's neck has nothing to do with what they are talking about here. You have my word. The other guy definitely had, the guy with the lip also was a gossip. He also had a bruise on his neck. Can we see him here? Probably not, right? People? Where is he? Look, you see that around his neck? Although his is like redder. I love how their ages are more high. You know, it's like a ring around his neck. Their ages are maybe that's why his lip is like that. Like a punch or something. Yes. What is your opinion, Council? About this red ring around Mr. DeRossi's neck? I wonder. Does it matter? Let's just save. It's important. Mr. DeRossi, I'm going to have to ask you to amend your testimony with details about that mark on your neck. Hi, Capo. You see, everyone is interested in what I say, huh? Ugh. Very well. You will amend your testimony as requested, Mr. DeRossi. See, if you really want to know. What does he say? He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar on him and dragged him back. Like what he did to me, you see? Put the what on him? Huh? Excuse me? Yeah. Right. Hold it! The collar. Are you saying that red mark was caused by... TC, I make a collar made from a leather. Oh, jeez. No. Like a belt? Or like an actual, like... Yeah, like... Some BDSM stuff, huh? A leather collar? This is true, Mr. DeRusso. What? We had a St. Bernard at home when I was younger. It is a souvenir from that time. It's a very strong chain. Oh god, it's getting worse. Well, depending on your outlook, I suppose. Strong chain. And you put that around your friend's neck? I'm sorry, I was so angry that he was leaving me alone. You did not have to tie the chain to the leg of the bed, though. I would not have tried to run again. What the fuck is happening here? You didn't do that to Inspector Gregson as well, did you? Treat the people equal, huh? He's the capo here's motto, eh? Sounds like fucking Gerald's game, huh? It's starting to sound a lot more like a prison all of a sudden. The capo was a tough, but the capo was a rough. Oh, I shouldn't have done it. So, the following morning, when you released the inspector, he had the red ring around his neck, just like me. Peppino, s'il vous plaît. Leave it now. Is that one I know, huh? I speak French. Thank you, though. The capo here, you don't want to tango with me. But for the inspector, it's not so bad. Right, he amended his testimony. So there must be something we can push. Is there anything on the autopsy report about like a mark on his neck or anything? Oops. No. Okay, we'll push the last one as well. I spent a nice night in a nice room with nothing like prison. Doubt it. You took away the man's freedom. However comfortable you make it sound, you were still holding him prisoner. If you say that, then I say this. There is something that takes away our freedom too. The lack of money. So we are the prisoners as well, huh? All of us. Prisoners of capitalism, huh? Huh? No money, no freedom. This is the truth. It makes me mad, and it makes me sad. What can we do? Well, if you feel so disenfranchised, take money to court. Oh, it'll cost you, of course. Oh, well, there you have it. You see, that's why we need the Red-Headed League, to fight for the justice. Exit society, huh? Perhaps he's a point. No, Mr. Naruhodo. Yes, Susato, yes. All we did was give the man a comfortable place to sleep for the night. And you say it was a prison, huh? Huh? Perhaps he has a point again. Not again, Mr. Naruhodo. You should have heard him snoring. Not I. If anyone was disturbed, it was us. I don't speak Italian. Not much to go on, really. Their testimony does make me wonder, you know. About this pocket watch belonging to the inspector, I mean. Ah, yes, the one he treasured so much, apparently. Oh, yeah. Like, if he was free the night before, he would have worn the pocket watch, right? But he didn't. So he clearly wasn't, like, fine. If he was confined but not restrained, as well as the witnesses are implying, he would still have been able to wind his watch. Yep, there we go. That's very true, yes. But did Inspector Gregson actually die while he was being held captive by these redheads? In which case, is it possible that these two young men are responsible for Inspector Gregson's? To be honest, I find that hard to believe. Perhaps we should try to find out exactly what happened. Very wise, Mr. Naruhodo. Okay, maybe on this one here, this last one, we'll present the watch. Like he spent the night in a nice room or something like that. All right.
Objection.
Fuck. He tried to escape, but the capo put the collar on him and dragged him back. Can we press the watch with that?
Objection.
No. Right. Need to have a think. Okay. progress again. Bum 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 bum. I would be surprised if they were responsible for his death, honestly. They seem too incompetent. And Team Rocket, like. Hi, Pearl. What'd you miss? So at the start of this stream, we were questioning the two bozos here about. So last time we found out that they did, like, meet Gregson, and like they had his identification and everything like that. So we found out that they like took him captive basically the night before he was killed. They locked him up. So they're claiming that they're claiming that he tried to escape in the middle of the night, and they brought him back with a collar around his neck and a chain. But that they just like brought him back to his room and he slept until the next day. Now that is like kind of sussy, because if he was brought back to his room and he slept there in the night, he would have wound his watch, but his watch wasn't wound that night. So we need to prove somehow that he wasn't fine that night, which one we're trying to do currently. And so you see, like, Mario here has like has the bruise around his neck. That's what the collar did. I can't see that bruising on Gregson in the photo. That bruising won't just go away after a day. Right, it should be all the way around here, right? Right, we're gonna try on the collar one. Right, my guess, I'm gonna press this one where he talks about they use the collar on Gregson. Didn't do that. I meant to do the evidence. Oh, I was reloading the save. Right, I'm gonna press the collar one with the picture of Gregson, like Gregson's dead body. And the fact that he doesn't have the bruising. Right, wait for the music to stop.
Objection.
Let's go. So the day before his body was discovered, Inspector Gregson was taken prisoner while working incognito. No, it was not like that. It was hardly a prison. It was an invitation to stay. It was only. However you describe it, there's one glaring inconsistency that remains. What inconsistency is this, counsel? I would ask the court to look closely at this photograph of the victim, Inspector Gregson. You will see that there is no red ring visible around his neck. Hey, but that makes no sense. It was me who took the collar off the man in the morning. And I saw the red bruises on his neck, just like I have. Did they kidnap Gossip? Is that why he has the ring? Given that the mark is still clearly visible on this witness's neck, we'd expect to see bruising on the victim who was put in the collar more recently than Mr. DeRossi. Or does Gossip just do it for, like, other reasons? Indeed. That is most peculiar. But what have we told you, huh? We say that this, from the beginning, many times. Oui, Pepe knows right. The man in the photograph. He is someone different to the man we held captive that night. They caught fucking Gossip, huh? Order, order, order! It would appear then that on the day before the incident, the man who visited the park on Lime Street posing as an incognito inspector was not Inspector Gregson at all.
Objection.
Yeah, he had his ID though, somehow, right? If that's true, however, how do you explain the inspector's identification? Oh, they're ahead of me. I'm one step ahead of them. This is a genuine identification book issued by Scotland Yard. It's inconceivable that someone could have stolen such an important item from the inspector. The prosecution makes that assertion itself. Huh. And we also know that the inspector had made a note about the Red-Headed League in his diary for that day. Which surely means we can't divorce the two events completely. The inconsistency noted by the defense is most troubling. If it were the real Inspector Gregson whom these two red-headed gentlemen encountered, the fact that no bruising can be seen around his neck defies explanation. But equally, if they actually encountered an imposter... He said it. How did that person come to be in possession of the real Inspector's identification? Does the defense have some plausible explanation, counsel? The whole thing defies explanation. It is for precisely these occasions that we keep meticulous notes in the court record, Mr. Naruhodo. Because those are the facts, and the facts cannot lie. Actually, facts don't care about your feelings. No, the facts can't lie. Even when they point to something so incredible, it's almost unbelievable. Well, my lord, the true identity of the person who turned up in the park for the Red-Headed League's enrollment is revealed by information in the court record, I believe. Good gracious. Very tantalizing, Mr. Naruhodo. So why don't you help us all to see whatever truth it is that you've apparently seen? Who exactly was this inspector that appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi? I think it was gossip. Let me say it anyway, just in case we're wrong. Just based on the bruising. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun, dun. Though it seems incredible, I admit, the undeniable facts point to only one thing. Since no bruising can be seen on the victim's neck, the person who these two red-headed men took prisoner that day cannot have been Inspector Gregson. In other words, your whole argument up to now has been a waste of time.
Objection.
On the contrary, I haven't finished. What? There's no bruising on the victim's neck, so the question immediately posed next is, where's the bruising? Who exactly was this man in the park on Lime Street found to be carrying Inspector Gregson's identification? See, that's right. We tell the same story every time. Whoever this man was, the capo dragged him from the pillar to post with a dog collar. Mon Dieu, Peppino, I was so harsh to say. I was not so harsh as you say, huh? So who was that the false inspector, eh? Who was he? Clearly the defense has an idea about that. About the true identity of the man these two imprisoned that night. I must ask the counsel for the defense to elaborate post-haste. Who did the witness encounter in the park posing as Inspector Gregson? Is it post-haste or is it post-haste? Huh? I like post-haste. I think it was fucking... It was fucking gossip.
Take that!
Goodness me, isn't that? One of the witnesses who was in the stand in this very courtroom earlier today. A nameless man, whose only occupation appears to be peddling hearsay to passers-by. What on earth would a street seller be doing with a police inspector's identification papers? That word kind of got a bit muddled there when you get the gist of it. Witnesses, is this the man or not? What has happened to his lip? Ah! See, this man is not for the Red-Head League, eh? He's looking for the Twisted Lip League, no? Perhaps rather than make such a rash claim next time, you should bite your lip instead. It seems improbable, yes, but one undeniable fact remains. During his testimony earlier, I noted something around the man's neck. A red ring of bruising. Eh? What? The defense demands that Mr. Gossip be brought back to the stand. Order, order! Bailiff! Bring the aforementioned witness back into the courtroom. Immediately! Let's go, get him on, Fucking there it is, Well, I never. An undeniable ring of bruising indeed. And identical to that of the witness beside him. Now what's going on here, eh? I've always had this, me. It's a birthmark, innit? A birthmark, you say? I assume the reason you've been recalled to the stand has been explained to you? Aye, something about an inspector again. I'm telling you, you've got it all wrong as usual. You're denying all knowledge of it. Well, of course I am. Are you trying to kill me with all this nonsense, eh? Well, at least you'll have more stories to peddle back on Fresno Street, won't you? Now, we're going to need you to testify again. And you, Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi, I'm sure you'll cooperate, won't you? Do we have any choice? We're in a big trouble, eh, Capo? That's quite enough dilatory chatter. Proceed with the testimony. Alright. Let's see what we can drag out of these boys, huh? The inspector and the identification revisited. The man who claimed to be an inspector that day was definitely not this man. Oh. He's right, see? I think we would forget these grand lips, huh? Stop flicking it. Oh, camera's going a bit weird. Sorry, sometimes it just goes out of focus. Just the album music. I never leave Fresno Street, alright. I have no interest in any Redheaded League. I'm all alone in the world, me. I have no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Just look at me, eh? Does it look like I can carry off a disguise with a face like this? Why has he got the Usopp lips from One Piece? It would certainly appear that we have the wrong man. What have I been telling you, huh? There was no need for this pointless testimony. Man. Nope. Okay. Ugh. That's right. I'm just a simple peddler, remember? Fresno Street's all I know. How would I have come by a police inspector's identification book, eh? Oh yes, that's hard to explain, but... Getting there, Noodle? Nice. A brief cross-examination, I think, counsel. Very brief. Isn't there anyone in this courtroom who thinks I might be onto something? I stand steadfastly at your side as always, Mr. Naruhodo. Base Sasato, huh? Alright, let's press the fuck out of them and see what we can get. Okay, so DeRusso says that Gossip wasn't the man that claimed to be the inspector that day. So you say, but how can you be quite so certain? There's no need to hurt your hands on to death, monsieur. Surely the reason is obvious, no? Because I have never before seen lips like this. It's all down to the lips, Sam. Nevertheless, there's a clear red marker on Mr. Gossip's neck. It looks very much like that left behind on the neck of your colleague by your prized collar. Mon Dieu, with your words, it is like you tried to wring my neck. It does look very much like my neck, though, eh? No, this is a birthmark, lad. The biggest lips in London and a neck to die for. Aye, they broke the mold when they made me. For the first time in my life, I feel lucky to have been born with the red hair. I thought being Japanese made you stand out in London. So you maintain you've never seen this man before? Oui. C'est ça. I swear by the flames of my hair. So fierce pride has outgrown the frustration with your hair now, has it? Okay, nothing there. Alright, DeRossi says, basically correct, you think we would forget these lips again? It's all down to the lips. Well, yes, I don't imagine I'll forget those lips in a hurry either. That is what I'm saying. For some reason, it makes me want to eat. How did Fabian call it? Declare. Who the fuck is Fabian, huh? You know, I've never seen the hair as black as yours before either. Likewise, I've never seen red hair like yours until I came to Britain. See, maybe it's a national trait, huh? Maybe all the people from this Amanda country have a grander lips. No, lad, I was born right here on Fresno Street. I never left. Oh, well, it is a problem, see? She definitely didn't go to the park on Lime Street that day, Mr. Gossip. Oh, how many times are you going to say it, eh? Okay, so again, the lips. It says, I never leave Fresno Street. I have no interest in any Redheaded League. Okay. So, you heard of the Redheaded League, had you? You don't get a name like Gossip for nothing, eh? It's my business to know what's going on in town. I sold that tasty tidbit to a fair few redheads that came past me. Just between us, I even got Sandwich to cough up for it. Isn't that red-headed, though? Well, he does have a very red nose, if that counts. I don't think that counts, Sato. Who knows? But as you can see, my own air's not got a hint of red in it. And in any case, Fresno Street's my patch. You won't catch me sidling off to some other part of town. No, sir, not likely. Uh-oh, uh-oh. Is that so, says Mr. DeRusso?
Excuse me.
Mr. DeRusso. Oui? Can I help you? Did Mr. Gossip's word just now lead you to remember something relevant, perhaps? Has DeRusso seen him in a different part of London, maybe? It was the other day when I was looking for a place near the park. A small house or something. To be the headquarters of your red-headed league, yes. I visited an housing agent on Lime Street and there I saw him. This man was paying money to the agent. What? Mr. Gossip with a housing agent? Oui. He had some kind of contract in his hand and they were clearly discussing terms. But, no, you're mistaken, chum. I've never left Fresno Street, me, like I said before. You mistake me for someone else. Someone with the same face. No, the capo is right. I remember the two. He was paying the man with the banknotes. With notes? Like I said, that wasn't me. I was curious why this man with the dirty clothes had so much money. So I looked at the name on the papers. And what name was written? Mr. Gossip? I wonder, is it the name that was on the room where Gregson died? No, this man, he lies. He tells you that he has a no name. But in fact, his name is Hugh Boone, eh? He's better than Mr. Gossip, I think. See, fucking there it is. That's the name on the room where Gregson died, was Hugh Boone. We thought it was Gregson's, like, pseudonym. No! Uh-oh. A peddler of tidbits of information, like I said, on Fresno Street. And that's that. The big lip looks from the downward angle, huh? I don't much like folk talking about my personal life. Indeed. And it is not the intention of the court to invade the privacy of witnesses. Very well. I shall respect your wishes, sir. The aforementioned name shall be redacted from all court records of this trial, assuming no objections. What? Yeah, yes, objections.
Objection.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, my lord, but the defense does object. Because the name just mentioned has a very deep significance to this case. Good gracious. Do you similarly object, Prosecutor Asogi? As it happens, my lord, that particular name has already been mentioned during today's proceedings. Well, I never. In what capacity? You've been the name of the leaseholder of the room. Let me put this very simply. The victim's body was discovered in your rented room. I suggest, sir, that you start talking. Well, alright. I suppose that might be the case, fuck him. He's very gross, So your real name is Hugh Boone. Oh, just between us, I don't like to blow my own trumpet. There's no finer peddler of tidbits in town. So I happen to be able to afford a grubby little room in a falling down backstreet townhouse. You do? And once every 6 months, I go and pay the rent to the agent on Lime Street. Aye, I remember now. There were 2 vulgar redheads in there last time. Aye, if either of us is a vulgar, not to me. Think again, Peppino. Why didn't you bring this up before? Like I told you already. Boone Noise instead of Gossip, his name's been updated. I don't like talking about my personal life. I'm a tidbit peddler as far as everyone else is concerned. No fuss. You will update your testimony to include this most surprising revelation, Mr. Boone. If I must. So the leaseholder Scotland Yard has been looking for since the body was discovered. Has been here under our noses all along. I rent the room where that fellow was found, it's true. What difference it makes?
Hold it!
Press that shit. So, you live in that room presumably, do you? No, I don't live there. What do you think? There's no bed, is there? Just a desk. Then, why would you want to rent it? Well, I don't think I should have to say, really. Landlord, so. Then how about the notice board in there? Which was covered from top to bottom in confidential documents only the police should have access to. No, that board's not mine. The inspector must have brought it along. It's only the other bits and bobs that belong to me. The desk and the chair and that. And the photo? Of Mrs. Vigil? Why has he got a photo of her then? People don't generally carry enormous notice boards around with them. The real question is, why was Inspector Gregson killed there in your room? Well, obviously, I've not the faintest idea. I mean, it's causing me no end of bother, to be honest. Seems to me that Mr. Boone would rather as little known about his room as possible for some reason. Yes, it does come across that way, and more importantly, knowing that the scene of the crime is actually his room completely changes things. In particular, there's one part of his testimony that's really bothering me now. That's why I'm finally going to undo this man. Shit. Listen to him talk. I'm all alone in the world, me, I have no kinfolk or nothing. Why would I be involved in something like that? Right, if he's all alone in the world, why does he have a picture of her? Right? Why does he have a picture of Mrs. Vigil?
Objection!
Let's go. If you have no kinfolk, as you put it. Then explain why it is that among the sparse furnishings, we find this photograph in the room. I presume as you've been renting the room, that this photograph belongs to you, does it not? Oh, well, Mr. Boone, drop the pretense, and tell the court exactly who you really are. Is he her husband who went missing? And he's been fucking plugging in money! Oh, that's right. Hi, Charlie.
Hello.
Sorry, so her husband used to work in the jail, right? Man's been shirtless for about a week, Charlie. I'm fucking melting, huh? So, Mrs. Vigil's husband quit the she believes he worked at the church or something, or at the prison or something. But we went to the prison and we found out that he quit like years ago. But he's still been bringing in money somehow. I think he's her husband, right? If we look up the people. So Mrs. Vigil was the one who came to us originally. It was like 10 years ago or something. So Mrs. Vigil is... fucking, that's him! Look at his fucking curly hair. So, Evie Vigil, so she was the... Yeah, so her husband went missing. So she came to us. Her husband was missing. And then we went, so we knew that he worked at the prison. We went to the prison and we found out that he quit the prison ages ago. And this is the photo of him. Yeah, so he was the former chief warder of Barclay Prison. Now, if I close this down now, what? Look at it. Keep an eye on his hair. The curly hair. Nope, Reno's I think he is, yeah, like there's the photo as well, right? There he is. That's him, right? Oh, true. Yeah, we can't see in the picture, in the portrait, yeah. There, gossip. Daily Vigil, right? Look at the curly hair. I think that's him. I don't know what. What do you mean? I'm a peddler. I keep telling you so. You really don't need to bother with me. Please, just leave alone. Oh, he's like 50. He'll be like 50 or something, right? He was like 30 or something. He was like late 30s, wasn't he? Yeah, he's 40 when he disappeared. Or maybe that's his like I think that's his modern age, actually, so he'd be 40. Because she's 30, 36. As the man says. Leave it alone. Whatever the truth is about this man's life, it has no bearing on this case. Oh, we don't know Gossip's age, yeah. We don't know Gossip, we don't know Sandwich, and we don't know Venus. We don't know those three. Because they haven't told us, really. They're kind of like, there's mystery, really. Because it's simply not possible that he impersonated Inspector Gregson.
Objection.
How can you be so sure? Just look at the man. No amount of disguise could ever hide those unmissable features.
Objection.
But what if we were to look at this the other way around? What do you mean? Yes, Counsel, what do you mean? Well, there's no denying that Mr. Boone's lip is very prominent indeed. But consider the possibility that his prominent lip is itself part of an elaborate disguise. Yep. Then hiding that prominent feature, in other words, revealing his true face, would make an utterly impenetrable disguise. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Hugh Boone? Good. Witness, are you still hiding the truth from this court? If that's a disguise, then underneath it, his true identity must be... Yes, that's right. There's really only one person he really could be. My lord, the defense believes it can reveal Mr. Boone's true identity to the court. No. Please. No. Very well then, counsel. He was involved in the professor trial as well. That's... so... What is the true identity of this peddler who goes simply by the name of Gossip on the streets? It would be Daily Vigil.
Take that!
Your real name is actually Mr. Vigil, isn't it? Mr. Daily Vigil. Yeah! I don't recall that name, counsel. Who is this Mr. Vigil? It's a name I encountered yesterday, my lord. It has to do with a certain client of Mr. Herlock Sholmes. A young gentlewoman came to the detective, asking him to locate her missing husband. The woman in this photograph, in fact. This is Mrs. Vigil. What? From what I understand, you haven't returned home since the night before the inspector was found dead. But of course, on that night, you're being held captive by the two Red-Headed League men. Yeah, so he hasn't been gone for 10 years, but he hasn't been working for the prison for about 10 years, is what it was. He's only just gone missing. But of course, on that night, you're being held captive by the two Red-Headed League men. And he's been bringing in money for all that time as well, because his wife didn't know he quit the prison. So, and we also have the thing as well. We have the record of him leaving the prison. Like the warden gave it to us. And last night you were put up by the prosecution service in preparation for testifying in this trial, because we've been led to believe that you, Miss Venus, and Mr. Sandwich were all homeless. Being important witnesses in this case, we needed to know where we could find you, of course. And that explains why you've not only been unable to return home, but also unable to contact your wife, who's been beside herself with worry, waiting for you at the Vigil residence. No, just hold on a minute. I don't have the first idea what I'm talking about, really. So he hasn't been missing on purpose then, he's just been circumstantial. It's a simple enough matter to confirm my suspicions. All we have to do is pull out that disguise. Oh, no! Please! Get rid of that fucking lip, please. It's so disgusting, huh? Bailiff, bring soap, a sponge, and a wash bowl at once. Mr. De Russo and Mr. De Rossi, you will restrain the witness. Oui, my lord. Si, my lord. Get up! Ah! Ah! No, no! Stop! Get off! Don't! There he is. The purple hair. That's gone. I think fuck. Now he looks like a Juju villain again. Well, we are now seeing your true features, I presume. Oh, change clothes as well. Lift your head, sir, so the court can see your face. Are you 40 years old? He is straight up a JoJo character. We had the guy in the first game with the big top hat, and he was like all black and white. He was a JoJo character as well. This is also a JoJo character. There's a very, very particular aesthetic. Oh. It would appear that the defense counsel's assertion was entirely correct. The man with the turtle on his head. Oh yeah, I forgot about him. Wasn't there a guy who had a baby as well? This has all been a very elaborate deception. Remember the swan hat? That's OG. Yeah, that's the start of that was Giselle, right? Was her name? She's from the very first trial, the first greatest attorney, and then she came back then later, right? And it was like actually a swan because it would go every so often. So witnesses, tell the court. Have you seen this man before? She's the one who killed Iris's dad as well. And the moon guy, yeah. I don't believe it, but... See, there's no question. This is the imposter we saw in the park. Extraordinary. So how did he get Gregson's identification then? On the day of the Red-Headed League enrollment, the man claiming to be Inspector Gregson who appeared before Mr. DeRusso and Mr. DeRossi in the park was you disguised as the inspector. Or rather, was you posing as the inspector in no disguise at all? Mr. Vigil was formerly employed as a chief warder at Barclay Prison. A chief warder? Then your career had promise. Why, you would quite possibly become the future governor of the prison. What on earth have you been doing peddling tittle-tattle on Fresno Street? Well, it's been 10 years since Mr. Vigil worked at the prison. 10 years? I'm really dreadfully sorry about all this. Yes, it's true. I'm Daily Vigil. And you were the chief warder at Barclay Prison 10 years ago. So where did Mr. Hugh Boone come from? Boone is... the other me. It's a name I invented. Well, evidently there is a great deal under the surface here. I'll explain everything. I'll tell you just how wretched my life has become. Ruh-roh. As you say, it was 10 years ago now that my employment at Barclay's chief warder came to an end. Having left the prison service, I searched for some new occupation by which to earn a wage. But times were hard in London, and I found no suitable engagements at all. In desperation one day, I turned my hand at selling wares on Fresno Street. But your wife appears to know nothing of this. She still maintains that you're the chief warder at Barclay Prison. I was utterly determined that my wife should not know of my failings, which is why I've never told her. I opened an account at the bank under the name of Hugh Boone, and I rented the cheapest room I could find on Fresno Street. The scene of the very crime we're investigating. Yes, that's right. Oh. Big lips. A place from which I could emerge every morning at 8 as a squalid peddler, and transform myself back at every evening at 5 into a well-dressed man about town before returning home. That quickly became my daily routine. Interesting. I was puzzled by the lack of furniture in the room, but that explains it. Why on earth didn't you just tell us this in the first place? I have a wife, sir, and 2 sons. Without wishing to sound self-conceited, they regard me with some pride. I couldn't bring myself to disappoint them. So instead you decided to conceal your occupation from them? Yes. I've made such a terrible mess of everything. Still, one thing doesn't add up. No matter how many tidbits of information you could sell to passing gentlemen, even at 6p a piece. There's no way that's like... for 10 years, like, you could live off that? You couldn't hope to match the salary you must have commanded as chief warder of the prison. Very true. You have kept your family in comfort despite 10 years of somewhat misbegotten employment. That was all thanks to Inspector Gregson. Is he like an informant? Is that what it could be? He's like a Scotland Yard informant, maybe? In a way, like Sherlock Holmes had like a network of homeless people. I don't know if Herlock does in this universe, but Sherlock Holmes in the stories had like a network of homeless people that would provide him information. He would pay them. Don't know if that's what it is. What? Inspector Gregson? What on earth? It was some years after I'd invented Boone and begun my other life as a street seller. The inspector, that is, recognized me one day. Do you mean to say the victim was an acquaintance of yours? Oh dear. I knew him from my time working at the prison. Oh. Here comes Gregson. When he saw what I'd become, he was deeply troubled for me and my family. And from that day forward, he visited me on Fresno Street with increasing regularity. Oh, not even. And then one day, he asked me if I would carry out a secret assignment for him. Oh. Maybe. Maybe still. A secret? What was it? I was to impersonate the inspector. Oh, interesting. Okay. What? Impersonate him? We always met in that little room so the inspector could brief me. Visit Orcsey's tomorrow and take a statement from the proprietress. It was always something along those lines. Surveillance were interviewing people. Right. What's the bet? At the end of this trial, we find out that it's Vigil dead on the floor, and this Vigil, like, Mission Impossible style, like, rips off a fucking plastic mask. That's Gregson, huh? Mission Impossible theme blasting in the background, huh? Well, said surveillance work though, so I'm sort of right. On those occasions, he would lend me his identification so people would believe who I was. Okay, so that's why he had it then. My instructions were to make an impression, to let people know that Inspector Gregson had been at work. So that's why Gregson revealed himself very quickly. The actual Gregson wouldn't have, but like if this was the whole point of the ruse. To make an impression, that's why he revealed himself. And for those services, he compensated me financially. A Scotland Yard inspector willingly relinquished his identification into your care with intent to deceive? That, as I'm sure I need not point out, is a very serious criminal offense. Why? What was the point of you impersonating him? I truthfully do not know. All I can say is that the inspector warned me on numerous occasions. Now remember, Vigil, I need your solemn word. You don't blab about this to anyone, alright? Ever. Even if, well, if I end up a croaker. Rip the man, huh? In time he started to bring papers with him to the room as well. It became something of a second office for him. So, in fact, the person who declared himself to be Inspector Gregson at the park on Lime Street was really... Yes, it was me, acting on the inspector's orders. As usual, I removed my Boone disguise, and then went as instructed to the park, armed with the inspector's identification book. It never occurred to me that the bruise on my neck might give me away. Well, it would seem this confession completely destroys the defense's case. Explain yourself, Prosecutor Asogi. My learned friend's assertion was as follows. The victim was killed at another location on the day before his corpse was discovered, at the hands of these two red-headed League men when they imprisoned the inspector. No, that can't be. After all, it wasn't the inspector who went to the park that day, it was me. Oh, goodness. Finally, we have clarity. We had nothing to do with the murder of the inspector. And merci, Monsieur de la Défense, for proving it. What? Ah! Oh. Fucking Van Zeeks in the back somewhere, like, watching the whole thing transpire. Trying to fucking slip out the back door. Order! Indeed, it would appear that we have reached a de facto conclusion of sorts. These witnesses had no involvement in the murder of the victim, as proven somewhat ironically by the defense. Ugh. I hereby call an end to the cross-examination. Right. Bye, boys.
Hold it.
Oh, uh-oh. The Kazuma? Yep. Pardon me, my lord, but with your permission, I would like to pose one further question to the witness. Kazuma? What question, counsel? It concerns the events of 10 years ago. I believe you would have been present at a very significant execution that was carried out at the time. Uh-oh. Here we go. 10 years ago. The execution of the professor, Genshin Asugi. I want to know exactly what your involvement was. Oh. Answer me, man. One moment, counsel. Is this related to the current case? Naturally. It is the prosecution's belief that this case and the events of 10 years ago are inextricably linked. Does the defense concur, counsel? Kazuma. You're not yourself. You're not as calm and collected as usual. Poor Kazuma-sama. No wonder he's acting this way. Mr. Vigil's memories of what happened 10 years ago would tell the tale of Genshin Asugi's last moments. His own father. I know, I do understand that. But even so... Prosecutor Asugi. Do you genuinely believe that this question requires an answer in order to learn the truth behind Inspector Gregson's death? I need you to trust me. Please. Very well. Then the defense has no objection. I see. In that case, you will answer the question, witness. The truth is, I remember very little of that time. You've forgotten? I'm sorry to say, yes. As I said, I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. But for some peculiar reason, my memory of the events leading up to that moment is extremely hazy. Does that not strike you as strange, Mr. Naruhodo? Sorry? Well, 10 years is a long time. But you have forgotten the reason why you left such an important job. Yes, you're right. Not only that, Mr. Vigil's claim contradicts what we already know. The human spirit is a fragile thing. It's broken all too easily, which is why we have a tendency to wrap it up for protection. Sorry, the human spirit? I'm afraid I don't understand what you mean. When we experience pain and suffering that we feel unable to bear, we block it out, obliterate it from our memories, seal it away. But it never truly leaves us. If the seal is broken, the memories resurface, and when they do, that fragile spirit may finally be crushed. But I really don't... Kazuma-sama? But if it must be crushed, then so be it. Because the truth will not stay buried. It's coming out one way or another. Right. Now I understand. It's clear what his intentions are. He means to expose the truth at any cost. Perhaps if I pointed out the contradiction in what Mr. Vigil claimed earlier, it might cause some crucial memories to return to him. But should I? Should I present the evidence or not? Do it. Probably should. I don't know. I need to look through my evidence and see. Do it. I have no idea how this is going to go. But this is a court of law, and I have a duty to pursue the truth. Mr. Vigil, I'd like you to look at this. Evidence that clearly contradicts your version of events. What does the dismissal notice say? He was relieved of his post, and he was... because he violated a code of conduct, right? Didn't he help the professor escape? Yes, he helped him escape. That's right.
Take that!
Just a few moments ago, you made the following statement. I resigned from my role at the prison 10 years ago. Well, yes. In other words, you claim to have left the post of Chief Warder of your own volition. Well, yes, of course. Why? Tell me. Do you remember seeing this document before? No, I don't. This is a dismissal notice ordering the immediate termination of a prison staff member's employment. A dismissal notice? And the name on the notice is yours, Mr. Vigil. What? What? It's mine? So you didn't resign from the prison service at all. For some reason, you were dismissed as Chief Warder from Barclay. No, there's been some mistake. I'm sure. I'm sure I tendered my resignation. The dismissal notice is nonsense. Isn't it? If you were forcibly dismissed, there must have been a good reason. Clearly, you did something. Mr. Vigil, it's time to break the seal and have you remember. According to the few remaining records, the final execution that you supervised was on the 17th of June 10 years ago. And on that day, something very serious took place at Barclay Prison. The 17th of June. Was that the professor's execution? Professor. As you were the Chief Warder at this time, it stands to reason that you would have been present throughout the proceedings. It does sound familiar. And yet, that execution never took place. The convict, ostensibly executed earlier that day, later re-emerged from his grave. The convict came back to life. In the cemetery in the middle of the night, there was a witness, Enoch Drebber. However, the witness claims that a moment after he saw the convict clambering out of his grave, a gunshot rang out from over his shoulder, and the bullet pierced the professor's chest, killing him instantly. Those may have been the professor's actual last moments. Yes. Seeing as you were in charge of overseeing executions at the time, you must know the truth about what really happened. It's in your head, somewhere deep down. Well, Chief Warder Daily Vigil, I know there are memories in your head that can explain what happened on 17th of June 10 years ago. And now it's time for you to drag them up. Mr. Vigil? Oh, shit, huh? Yes, the whole prison was complete chaos. The prisoner escaped. He was killed in the cemetery. The shocking news ripped through Barclay like a hurricane. What? What? Order! Order! Do you mean to say, Mr. Vigil, that your memories of the time have returned? My head, it's like some floodgates have been opened. The images, the screams. Oh, my goodness. The papers. There were reports, articles, about a man who had seen a ghost. Yes, Enoch Drebber. But surely those reports were exaggerated. There were traces at the scene. Traces of what? In Lowgate Cemetery, at plot number 139. Blood. Lots of blood. That's where the man was buried, of course. Obviously. Something terrible had happened there. The depths of conspiracy and depravity from which this tale is emerging are quite staggering. I've reviewed the police records from that time extensively. A thorough investigation was conducted by Scotland Yard to ascertain how the convict managed to escape in the first place. And the conclusion reached by the investigating team was that a member of the prison staff must have been involved. Are you suggesting that a prison warder abetted the man's bid for freedom? Yes. Yes, and I was suspected of doing it. Of using that mass murderer's execution as a way to help him escape. He did what? I remember now. The horror of it all is coming back to me. One evening, a few days after the execution, some detectives came to the prison. I was called to the governor's office at the top of the watchtower. I'm sorry, Daly. This is serious business. I Scottish is right. But I can't help you now. As Chief Warder, you were responsible for overseeing the execution of 4, eh? Well, it seems the fellow at Scotland Yard want to have a wee word with you about it. Make me dizzy. You better pack your things, laddie. You have to attend in person. As soon as he told me that, my mind just went completely blank. And the next thing I knew, he's getting faster as well. Next thing I knew, Professor, the most hated killer in our country's history. And I let him escape. I'm finished. My life is over. Order, order! Bailiff, fetch a doctor at once! Okay, he's got that one day. Court is adjourned for today with immediate effect. Jesus.
So, with Mr. Vigil's collapse, proceedings came to an abrupt end for the day. Once again overshadowed by the legacy of that notorious killer, appearing like a cursed ghost ship on a foggy ocean. Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Vigil, Cosima, and Gregson.
I'm surprised I'm pleased I've been saying Zeke's right. I've been saying some people saying it's actually Zeke's. It is Zeke's.
All of them bound by invisible chains anchored to the same wreckage in the murky depths of the past.
It's always fun getting a little bit of voice acting every so often. It's always like, oh, whenever it happens.
But the miraculous light that had been trying to cut through the gloom and shine on those tragic events was playing on the edges of the truth at last.
To be continued. I like the voice actor for Rinosuke. Investigation Part 2. 2nd November, 3:38 p.m. Sholmes' suite. I still can't quite believe what just happened. I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned, and it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to hospital to recover. Right. 10 years ago now, Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out of the window of the prison governor's office. But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family. Not even the man himself. But I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I overstep the mark, I wonder? Bruno! Here comes Iris. Oh, Iris. You were miles away. Anyway, I brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you. Oh, thank you. You and Susie have had an exhausting day so far, haven't you? Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you. You happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he disappeared. Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, "I must leave." I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you? There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. Where the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else. What's that mean? He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too. But he just can't take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too important to him. That's so true. But that's what I like about Hurley after all. I suppose that's a lot of a great detective in some ways. So then, let's have tea. And then I'll give you a hand. Oh, do you have time, Iris? Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last. With barely a day to spare before the deadline. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Sherlock Sholmes. You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline. You do? For Mr. Sholmes. I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you. Now then, my dear fellows. Let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation. I always like it when Iris comes along. This morning's trial. So, how did it go in court this morning? Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Lord Van Zieks definitely didn't do it. Oh, goody. Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well. Oh, really? And there was another development too. Kazuma. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. I know, I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. The Reaper's innocence. If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered, then Lord Van Zieks has to be innocent, you see. What? The day before? Well, that should be easy enough to work out, just by examining the corpse, surely. Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. That is curious. There are still unanswered questions about Lord Van Zieks, though, aren't there? Do you mean... I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? Well, according to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he? And it turns out that little room was actually the Inspector's secret office. Ooh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot. Then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Had a random thought, but it's just kind of fleeting. Oh dear. That sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late. Gregson's movements? Never imagined I might have to be investigating an inspector's movements. Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh, you mean he was doing the same as Hurley? Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating. I do wish it had been the other way around. Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. He was Mr. Vigil, in possession of Gregson's identification. You know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi. Oh my, yes, you're absolutely right, Iris. But why would Gregson need an alibi? It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips. But perhaps they were seasoned with something that was more potent than salt and vinegar. Walter, what's on my fish and chips, Walter? I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies. Well, anyway, if Lord Van Zieks felt the need to investigate Gregson. Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows. You go to prison to talk to him. Mr. Vigil's condition. Vigil, you say? Isn't that the name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? That's right. She asked Mr. Sholmes if he would help her find her missing husband. Only, Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually, didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to hospital? Do you know which one? Ah, it's St. Sinners. I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down. The same one. But that's amazing, Renaud. You found the lady's husband already. Well, I suppose I have, by accident. 10 years ago, while Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No. So, when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed. Sometimes I really don't want to grow up. Vibe, huh? There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector. To impersonate Gregsy? But why? I have absolutely no idea. Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now. Including you, Renaud. Huh. I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. That means he has ties to the Professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you? Back to St. Sinners, then. Okay, so we go there, or we go see Van Zieks in prison. Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let us investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris, you're more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will set them straight. That water pistol? It's stuff full of a piping hot extra special blend of mine. And I'm quite sure it'll be very effective. I better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still. Let's go and see what we can find out. Yes! Let's go. Alright. I don't think there's anything in the office, but we'll step up here anyway, just. 2nd November, Naruhodo's Legal Consultancy. Talk to Sasato, just what to do. Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? It's rather unusual to find ourselves here in the middle of our investigation. It just occurred to me that I might have forgotten something when we left this morning. Please don't worry. As long as you continue to investigate thoroughly, you won't go far wrong. Oh, yes, of course. I must get back to work as soon as possible. Okay. So we can head to... Probably worth chatting to Van Zieks, I think. Reading this book. Yeah. 2nd November, local prison, cell 1. Lord Van Zieks is reading. Look. He doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he? But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. Is he coming over? Nope. Oh, here he comes. What do you Nipponese want? There's no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? Say you're sorry. Perhaps not. I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo? Let's go. Lord Van Zieks, speaking earnestly. Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow. Good night time. Alright, no worries. Might play for maybe 10 more minutes. Feel a little bit of odd, maybe. Good night. See you later on. This does feel very, very strange. I must say, I was impressed. Oh, well, thank you. Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese. Your prosecutor friends. Oh, I see, yes. It's sardonic, don't you think? For a man such as me, so loathing of the Nipponese, to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you. I suppose. It's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years. Played the part. Did you see either the cinematic and or gameplay for Outlaws, Farrell? Very exciting. You haven't? Oh. What's that? Farrell. You been serious then? The new I'll say nothing then. Just let me see. Outlaws, yeah. Oh, wait a second then, Farrell. Don't look up anything. Let me get a few. Get us under your wee eye pipes, huh? Bum bum bum. Bum 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 bum. Just checking some messages here, one sec. It's very cute. Like a new species. I found out his name earlier, but like the name of the species, but I've forgotten now. It's a very fun trailer. Bum, 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 bum. Let's see what we can chat to Van Zeeks about. So yeah, we knew. I can't remember when it was now. You can watch this one as well. This is about 10 minutes for you, so I don't know if you want to wait until stream is done, or as we don't necessarily have to. So they did gameplay of it today as well. So it was announced, I think last year, maybe the year before, that Ubisoft were working on a Star Wars game. And when we heard nothing about it for quite a while, and then it was rumored. Yeah, it was Assassin's Creed. Oh, alright. So it's been worked on by Massive, who I believe did some of the work on The Division. And then there were rumors that it was going to be shown sometime in these last couple of days, while the Summer Game Fest stuff. And then that trailer was during the Xbox showcase yesterday. And then the gameplay was today, and it looks good. Their mocap has been rocky since Odyssey, relying on AI. It looks good if you watch it. I'm very excited. So it's going to be set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, which is where the current comics are all set, and it's a very interesting period of time. So I'm very, very excited. So yeah, there's a shot of Jabba and Han and Carbonite. Yeah. There were rumors that's going to be coming out in March, but they didn't give it a date on it, just 2024. So, yeah, I'm excited. People are very thirsty for the commando droid in the trench coat. I think it's ND5 is his name. Yeah, I'm super excited. So whenever that comes out, it'll be another one where just like every stream is just that until I beat it. But I'm very excited for it. Alright, let's chat to Van Zeeks about the Reaper's identity. You once told me that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper, because it helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything? Out the comments are begging Ubisoft not to mess it up when gaming companies rocked our trust so much. Internet comments are just ass in general, I just think. I don't pay much attention to it. I'm excited though. Also, Farrell, I don't know if I said this when you were here. After we beat Ace Attorney, on Mondays and Tuesdays, we're going to be starting Cyberpunk. They revealed the release date for the DLC yesterday, the expansion, and then I'll be rolling into that. So Cyberpunk will be coming next for Mondays and Tuesdays. We still have a bit left to go in Ace Attorney. We still have the rest of this adventure and then the last adventure. But yeah, Cyberpunk is up next. So that should be good. Then why would I choose not to say anything? But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was just the most recent of many attempts in your life, wasn't it? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you. Sorry. Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared. Thank you. I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization. Ah, it's a whole organization? It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man. No, the Reaper always appears to have a very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved. Oh dear. Someone at... You can't mean... It's taken me many years, but I've finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization. Is it Strongheart, is it? Gregson? Huh. Tobias Gregson. No. No! Is that why Van Zeeks was investigating him? Gregson? The Reaper? Gregson's secrets. So, the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper? As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization. The fucking Templars, huh? Hot Fuzz, the greater good. Hey, I don't believe it. Dog muck, crusty jugglers. Are you saying that Gregsy, that he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there? Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself. Oh. He was the tactician. His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. Jesus. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi. Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector. Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then. Actually, I do have a name. Oh shit. What? Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then. Or, if I can name the woman. Oh. She's a young woman by the name of Assassin. Assassin! Wait, what? Shin? No fucking way, we were just fucking talking about her earlier today. No way, hey. Noodle is gonna be fucking rolling in the morning when she sees this. I completely forgot that was her name. Giselle Brett, right? That was her, like, other name. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Wilson. Then, just when it seemed that diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. It's like she was like stabbed through the bamboo or something, wasn't she? And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey? Yeah, Iris still doesn't know. I can't remember if this was in this game or the last game. They kind of blend a little bit together. But they're very connected. Like, the plots are very connected, so. Mr. Naruhodo, this perhaps isn't the place to discuss. Yeah, she doesn't want to bring it up in front of Iris. Yeah. No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Wilson, because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was her father. Assassin. I should let father know at once. Yes, I agree. Jesus, Prosecutor Asogi. Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Asogi. You say he's a friend of yours. My best friend. He's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all on his merits. I had nothing but respect for him. Yes, I understand that only the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing. In fact, his flawless performance very much reminded me of his father. Genshin Asugi, the professor. It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asugi was carving out a canker from society that we British couldn't deal with ourselves. I see. But that's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zieks was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damned Japanese have to go and take my brother's life? In spite of having once saved mine. He saved your life? How did that happen? Saving your life. It was 10 years ago, on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital. So Clint Van Zieks had already been killed at this point then. Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course, at that point, I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden... The Wicked Pete, you're coming with us. We were surrounded. Oh, seeing two of them when they were younger. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scarves. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. Anyone else notice anything about this picture? Does anyone else spy the fact that Genshin Asugi, the professor, has a bright red ring that is now in the possession of Mr. Vigil? Very interesting. So was that like the payment that the professor gave Vigil to help him escape or something? He's like, take this ring or something like that maybe? I don't know what it means yet, I'm just noticing the ring. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. How old is Zeke's here? He would be... Van Zieks is usually in his 30s? Early 20s, probably. And they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I've been targeted several times before already. Yeah, it's Van Zieks alright. We've got him. I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me. But just when I thought my time had come. If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me. It was Asugi's voice, just a whisper in my ear. They like, boom, deflect the bullet or something. After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. He'd shielded me. 2 days later, they arrested him, on suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor. How awful for you. All at once, I lost the brother I revered, and the foreign friend I held in such high regard. I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zieks. That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone. Well, thank you for confiding in me. The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are. I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper. Giving assassination orders to Giselle Brett. Mr. Naruhodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I get to meet your daddy, Susie. Hooray! Yes, alright. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Waterloo! Well, damn. A new location's been added. Great Waterloo Hotel. Second of November, Great Waterloo Hotel foyer. We're actually going to save and leave it there for today. Big developments today, huh? Big developments. We're just gonna have to pick it up tomorrow and see where we go. Very interesting, very interesting. Thanks for watching today. We'll pick up tomorrow in the foyer of the hotel. We'll speak to Professor Mikotaba. These sort of games are great. They're really, really good. I hope they remaster the second like core trilogy. Like I'll play like the DS versions if we need to. I'd rather not, but we'll see. Yeah, they're very, very good. So, yeah, we'll continue tomorrow. Thank you for watching. Looking forward to it. See you later. Goodbye.